Ever heard of a panic that swept through an entire empire, all because of a few cut-off pigtails? It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, but this really happened in 18th century China. During the mighty Qing Dynasty, this wasn't just a local superstition. It was a nationwide crisis that reached the ears of the emperor himself. Welcome to the bizarre and terrifying story of the 1768 soul-stealing panic. Imagine this: you're walking down a bustling street in 1768 China. Suddenly, you feel a tug, and a piece of your queue that long, braided pigtail Manchu rulers required all Han Chinese men to wear is gone. Panic sets in. Why? Because a terrifying rumor is spreading like wildfire. Sorcerers are stealing hair to capture people's souls. They were believed to use this hair in black magic rituals, either to harm the owner or to gain power for themselves. People started accusing strangers, monks, and beggars of being soul-stealers. This hysteria began in the provinces south of the Yangtze River, a prosperous and bustling region. Local officials at first dismissed it as nonsense, the stuff of folklore. But the stories wouldn't die down. In fact, they grew more intense. People weren't just losing hair, they were reportedly falling ill, becoming listless, or even dying. The public was terrified, and they demanded action. Mobs started forming, and innocent people were being beaten or worse, based on mere suspicion. The panic eventually became so widespread that it could no longer be ignored. Reports of soul stealing started flooding the desks of provincial governors. This is where the story gets even more interesting. It wasn't just about magic anymore, it was about bureaucracy. These officials were in a tough spot. If they reported the panic to the capital, they risked looking incompetent, unable to control their own jurisdictions. But if they ignored it, and the emperor found out from another source, they'd be in even deeper trouble for a cover-up. Enter the Qianlong Emperor, one of the most powerful and long-reigning monarchs in Chinese history. He was obsessed with maintaining order and control over his vast empire. When he finally caught wind of the soul-stealing panic, he was furious. Not because he necessarily believed in the magic, but because he saw it as a sign of sedition, a hidden plot to undermine his authority. The queue, after all, was a symbol of submission to king rule. Cutting it was an act of rebellion. The emperor launched a massive, nationwide witch hunt from the top down. He commanded his officials to root out these sorcerers at all costs. An imperial decree was sent out, and suddenly, the full force of the state was mobilized. What followed was a massive campaign of interrogations, arrests, and torture. Officials who had previously downplayed the panic now scrambled to produce results, arresting anyone and everyone who seemed suspicious. Monks, Taoist priests, and itinerant workers became easy targets. But here's the twist: as the interrogations continued, a strange pattern emerged. Under duress, the accused would confess to all sorts of magical practices, but when provincial officials tried to verify these confessions, they found nothing. No evidence of widespread conspiracies, no secret societies, just a collection of frightened, often innocent, individuals caught in a web of fear and bureaucratic pressure. The evidence was flimsy, and the confessions were contradictory. The great soul-stealing conspiracy was turning out to be a phantom. By the autumn of 1768, even the emperor started to have doubts. His grand campaign had yielded no mastermind, no concrete proof of a plot against him. He saw that his own officials, in their eagerness to please him, had likely exaggerated the threat and tortured innocent people. The soul-stealing panic, which had consumed the empire for months, fizzled out almost as quickly as it had begun. The emperor quietly called off the campaign, and the accused were released. So, what was it all about? Historians believe the soul-stealing panic was a fascinating clash between the beliefs of the common people and the anxieties of the imperial state. It was a moment where folk fears about sorcery collided with the emperor's fear of rebellion. It reveals the immense power of rumor and the dangerous machinery of a bureaucracy desperate to satisfy its ruler. It's a stark reminder of how mass hysteria can be created and manipulated, turning ordinary people against each other. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this dive into a forgotten corner of history interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories you might not have heard in school. Let us know in the comments what you think. See you in the next video.